Let's get right to it. You guys saw the title. We bought a half-finished fishing lodge in the Arctic. This is not your typical fishing lodge. It's not big and it's not fancy, and that is because it is remote. The lodge sits on the mouth of Kitchigak River, a 3-hour quad ride outside of Cambridge Bay, which, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know is a community of about 1,800 people in the Arctic Circle. The lodge was started by a friend and former coworker of mine, but never finished. Myself and some other friends of the former owner then bought the place in the summer after he moved away. It currently consists of 3 small cabins and a gazebo, but we plan to add on to it. This here is the finished cabin. It's finished to the point of being functional. You see that we've got 4 bunks in here. So when people come out, this is where everyone sleeps. Got air mattresses, sleeping bags, shelving, all that kind of stuff. This one's actually got flooring in it. Got a heater, got places to hang stuff up, shelving. Nothing insane, but I mean, this to us is like what we want the other cabins to look like, at least as a start. And if we want to get a little bit more fancy from there, we can. You'll also notice that this cabin is wired up. The other ones are not yet, but definitely they will be when it comes time to finish them. Power out here would be either in the form of a generator or potentially solar. So one of the guys that bought into the place, he's got a lead on some solar kits that he might be able to get for the place. You know, that'll give you at least enough energy to kind of light things up and also charge phones and devices and whatnot. And that's really all you need. All right, let's have a look in these other cabins. You can see basically the same dimensions as the other cabin. The plan originally was to set this up as like another kind of a bunkhouse, so you could get 8 guys in here, and then it was sort of intended as like a commercial cabin originally by the guy who started building it. But I think we're gonna hold on to it just for sort of personal use for the 5 of us. So we might put maybe another 2 bunks in here or something like that. Potentially put an addition off this end, looking out, beautiful view out onto the ocean here, but we'll see. In here, typically we have a propane stove that sits right here. You can see the hose where it gets connected to a 20-pounder outside. This, just a little bit of an eating kind of kitchen area, little table, stools, all that kind of stuff. Look at this goddamn sunset. Look how beautiful this is. I can't get over it. Here's the canoe, quad. Not sure the status of this quad. I don't think it runs too well, but there's a quad. Ladders, like there's just tons of stuff out here. This is our outhouse. It's tipped over because of the high winds. It's got 2 out of 4 walls. It's funny. The guy who used to own this place had, for using the facilities, a little tent like right on the water out here. And it was funny because you'd go out, like, you know, be doing your business, and you just had this like beautiful view out onto the water out the front of the tent. And over time the tent got more and more deteriorated, and it's like the view got better and better. But it's funny because like the same thing with this, 2 of the walls are open to the ocean, so you just have the best view. It's nice. I want to say it's pretty nice. Maybe we'll just like leave those 2 walls off, we'll see. But here you can see how close we are to the water. So water right here, maybe I want to say 100 meters away from the cabins, something like that. Pretty darn close. There's no risk of like flooding or anything like that. There's not huge tides here, and the waves don't get too incredibly big. The water out here is very, very shallow for quite some ways out there. This over here is the mouth of the river. It goes up. I'll go show you. It also came with a boat with an outboard motor, which is a sweet deal. But yeah, so Wellington Bay out here, that opens up to the Dees Strait out that way, and then the land that you can see on the opposite side there is the other side of Wellington Bay, and there's a few islands and stuff in the middle. Honestly, considering how incredibly remote we are, it's pretty impressive that just one guy was able to build these 4 structures. Hopefully we're going to add on to it. You know, it may not look like much, but again, like for where we are, this is actually a solid amount of infrastructure. So yeah, here's the boat. Cabin came with a boat, which is like super sweet deal. There's a bit of dock structure as well here that he was building. This just kind of floats out. Considering where we are, that we're like in the middle of nowhere in the Arctic, the fact that there's a boat here is sick, and the fact that it's ours is also sick. Well, there's a lot of shit that we got to do to it. Some of the wires are like totally fucked, and the outboard is a little bit on the old side, but it's a boat. You can get around, like if you go out Wellington and out and around past the Finlayson Islands, you can get around back to Cambridge Bay. It's not too arduous of a journey as long as the weather's good. Like if the weather was like this, it would be no problem. Using this tripod is a little bit of a selfie stick here. So yeah, anyways, that is the cabin. That's the lodge. Calling it lodge, like I said, because it was designed originally as a lodge. The guy who was building it to be sort of a commercial lodge. Not really a lodge to us, but we're gonna call it the lodge. I've decided. We're calling it the lodge. Anyways, that's a bit of a brief tour. I'll probably show you guys some more stuff in the morning, but right now I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful sunset. And I got some friends staying up at a cabin. There's a cabin just a little further up the river, so I'm gonna go join them for a coffee or something like that, watch the beautiful sunset, and then get some rest. You can hear all the birds. There's so many birds out here. It's beautiful. There's a few cranes just over there, which I think I showed. Honestly, I wish I knew more birds because there's a ton of different species out here. I can't necessarily identify them yet. I'll get there. To give you a feel for how shallow it is, I am not quite up to the top of my boots. I'm a good 30 meters out, but there is a channel coming from the river that you can snake through. That's how you get a boat up. So you gotta kind of weave your way through. Really? Okay, so this is it for this video. Definitely over the winter, we're gonna bring some more material out to hopefully finish up these cabins next year, potentially start on the addition, do some other cool stuff. There's lots of cool projects to do for sure. Definitely need to get that boat running next year. Like today, I was just the whole day, I was sitting here wanting to be out on the water and exploring all around this bay, exploring all the rivers and little ravines and stuff. There's so much cool stuff, and it's not really accessible except by boat because the next river down, the Eklak, is too wide to cross by quad. So this is almost as far as you can get up to the Eklak. That's definitely as far as you can get by quad. All the other stuff all around the bay is really only accessible by boat. So definitely next summer we're gonna get that running. Anyways, lots of cool stuff coming up for sure with this place. But for now, I'm gonna close it up, pack up, and get back to town. We'll see you guys later.